I remember the cold before I remember the war, but now, with time, I realized that the cold was the war. It was the first enemy we met, and the last one that remained after everything else had fallen silent. When we crossed into Russia, we thought we were beginning a campaign. Instead, we were entering another world, one ruled by frost, by wind, by a winter so vast and so ancient it felt alive. The road to Moscow stretched ahead of us like some endless white serpent, twisting across the continent, daring us to continue. We did. But the road always won. At first, the snow seemed almost harmless, a soft blanket over the fields. We joked about it, kicked at it, made light of the cold. But within days, our breath hardened into ice, clinging to our scarves like tiny needles. The wind sharpened, the sky darkened, and the white grew. It swallowed the roads, the trees, the horizon. It erased the world we knew. So when we weren't marching toward Moscow, we were marching into nothing. Engines died every hour. Trucks that had traveled across Europe froze solid overnight. Steel cracked like fragile stone. Oil thickened into black sludge. Fuel froze into blocks. Mechanics knelt in the snow, lighting fires beneath the engines, praying for the metal too warm. It never did. I remember the sound men banging wrenches against frozen panels, cursing through chattering teeth, the metallic ringing drifting off into the barren white. It was the sound of a modern army slowly turning into a stranded caravan. Our boots stiffened until they felt like iron cages around our feet. Toes went numb. Fingers followed. Some men tried slapping their hands together, rubbing them, breathing into them, but the cold always crept back in. It found every weakness, every gap, every place where skin met air. Frostbite claimed men quietly. A fingertip turned black, then a whole hand, then feet. Then a man simply stopped walking. Russia didn't look like a place made for humans. It looked like the bones of the earth exposed to the sky. Forests were nothing but black spires. Villages were frozen into silence. Windows shattered, roofs buried under snowdrifts. Taller than men, even the animals had disappeared, as if they too had abandoned the land to winter. Every morning, when the dim sun finally rose, the landscape revealed itself again identical to the day before, as if time refused to move forward. We stopped talking. Words were stolen from our mouths by the wind the moment they left our lips. Silence became our companion, a suffocating, heavy silence. Except for Keller, the youngest among us. He kept talking about summer, about green fields back home, about running barefoot across warm grass. He described it with such detail, such clarity, that for a moment we could almost feel it. But the moment always passed, and the cold returned stronger each day. Nights were the worst. Darkness fell like a great weight, crushing whatever hope we carried. Temperatures plunged. Firewood was scarce. We huddled together under blankets too thin, our breath clouding the air. Men trembled so violently their teeth clattered like broken machinery. Some sang quietly to keep themselves awake. Others whispered prayers. Others simply stared into the darkness, eyes hollow, minds drifting into places far from here. And the wind became a thing of nightmares. It didn't howl. It murmured, soft voices in the storm, whispering to us, tempting us to lie down, to rest, to give our freezing limbs the peace they craved. Moritanonse. I felt myself drifting, my knees buckling, my vision blurring. The snow looked so soft, so inviting. I nearly let myself fall into it. Vogel pulled me up by the collar each time, his eyes wide, afraid for both of us. The blizzard stretched on, day after day. We moved like ghosts across a white wasteland that seemed infinite. Then, one evening, we saw faint flashes in the distance. Not sunlight, not lightning. Explosions. Artillery. The Red Army was close, too close. The air trembled. The snow glowed for a split second with each blast, a reminder that winter was not our only enemy. Yet when the attack finally came, it didn't start with violence. It started with stillness, a sudden, unnatural calm that washed over the fields. The wind died. The white curtain of snow parted just slightly, and through it, shapes moved, silent, deliberate. The Red Army emerged from the storm like apparitions, coats flapping. Reefless steadied their breath, steaming in the cold. They moved like men accustomed to this land, men shaped by this winter, men who understood the cold not as an enemy but as an ally. Gunfire cracked through the air. Muzzle flashes lit up the storm. The snow erupted around us in violent bursts. I dove behind a drift, the cold stabbing my skin like needles. Men shouted orders, but the wind swallowed every command. Panic spread faster than bullets, reefless. Command. Machine guns refused to fire. Frozen metal, frozen fingers, frozen everything. We were soldiers only in name now. In truth, we were victims of the cold long before the first shot was fired. A shell exploded behind us, the shockwave knocking men off their feet, spraying snow into the air like a tidal wave. The world went white, then black, then white again. I tasted blood. Someone screamed for help. Someone else screamed a prayer, but the storm devoured all sound. There was no retreat order, no strategy, no formation. We simply turned away from the fire and stumbled into the storm, desperate to escape the unseen enemy closing in. We moved blindly, colliding with one another, falling, rising, falling again. The snow deepened, waist high, chest high. Each step a battle, each breath a torture. Behind us, the artillery thundered, but ahead there was only the void. Some men collapsed. Some wandered off into the darkness. Some sat in the snow, closed their eyes, and surrendered. We wanted to help them, but we couldn't, because stopping meant death. Time blurred. Day and night became meaningless. The sky and the ground merged into one eternal gray. Faces around me grew gaunt. Eyes sank deeper. Voices cracked until they faded completely. We stopped being soldiers. We became shadows drifting across a frozen wilderness that felt endless. Sometimes I wondered if the world outside the storm even existed anymore. If warmth still existed. If home still existed. If we still existed. People ask me what defeated us on the road to Moscow. They expect tales of battles, of tactics, of armies clashing. But the truth is simpler. It was the winter. A winter that devoured machines, shattered morale, and froze the life out of men long before the enemy struck. A winter that seemed to watch us struggle and wait. The frozen road to Moscow was not a march. It was a descent into cold, into silence, into a land where even hope froze solid. And when I close my eyes now, I don't remember the battles. I remember the snow. Endless, merciless, eternal. Thanks for watching.